sense, which is what you just committed yourself to because you're a retard.
Yeah.
It would actually be the case. It would follow specifically that some view that does not take an idea that's kind of constitutive of the category of the hypothetical imperative.
Calm down, bro.
Those views is true. All right, and so now what we're gonna do, right, is I'm gonna try and give you. I'm just gonna try and get you to give me an
Sound all over the place. Could you
view that has the. Sorry, calm down.
Yeah, you gotta calm down, buddy. You gotta calm down.
Yeah, man.
Could you slow down? They're all talking to you.
Calm down there, right? And so what do we need you to do? Give me an instance of view in which it's the case that there's actually very, very specifically a view that takes the categorical imperative that is not a deontologist view.
Calm down.
He just didn't hear a word. I'm not gonna lie, but he didn't hear a word you said. Don't repeat yourself. Don't be terrible. He didn't hear a word you said. Just conclude.
You didn't hear me?
Because they were over talking you. I literally said, "Whoa, slow down," because you're talking way too fast.
Yeah. So what happened there?
No, nobody over talked him. By the way,
what happened there was you conceded to moral realism. If moral realism is categorical, if morals are categorical, then it is the case very, very specifically that the hypothetical imperative is false. If the hypothetical imperative is false, then the categorical imperative
is hypothetical imperative?
Yeah, I wasn't done speaking there, right? And so if the categorical imperative is true, then deontology is true. Now, what I want you to do, right, is I'm going to need you to find a view.
I don't know.
The only disputable premise there, the only one that is even possibly false, is the final premise. That being, if the categorical imperative is true,
Yugi, why are you out of breath?
Deontology is true, right? And so now what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to dispute the final premise because none of the other ones are disputable. No one disputes these.
Oh, baby girl, Jar.
Why are you out of breath?
So hard, Jar.
Answer the question.
Your booty,
Bro, dude, stop, bro.
Going in and out, Jar.
No, the question was specific scenario. Bro. This nigga like
can call that true.
Actually, real quick, you literally just did not. What was the hype?
So yeah.
What was
Calm down. You're like drowning. He has a shitty like $4 mic. What'd you say, Joe?
Yeah. I said what was a hypothetical imperative, and what was the other thing you said after that? Because you said two concepts, and I just want to get clear on those.
Yeah. So a hypothetical imperative, the hypothetical imperative just kind of takes the view that whenever we're thinking or talking about morals, right, the types of things that gives us reason to action, or the types of things that impart obligations onto us. Specifically, they're not the types of things that are categorical. They don't apply to all agents. They'll be kind of particular, right? Well, the categorical imperative, right? It kind of says there specifically that the reasons that count in favor of morals, the kinds of obligations that agents have, et cetera, they are not particular to certain agents. They're not particular to certain actions. They're true of all agents at all times in all actions, right? And so maybe now I can kind of clear up why what you conceded to actually follows to the categorical imperative being true, right? And so the reason it follows to the categorical imperative being true is because if moral realism is true, then the kind of moral judgments that we make, right, they're not particular of action or they're not particular of agents or whatever, because they're independent, right? They're kind of true irregardless of if there are agents, right? And so it could be the case that, say there's an empty world, right? Well, the moral facts are still fixed such that actions are wrong or not wrong, or agents, if they were to act in a certain way, are immoral or moral in the same relevant sense, right? And so it would be the case that morals on a moral realist view are necessarily categorical and they cannot be hypothetical. And so given that, it would just follow that the categorical imperative is true. And then given the categorical imperative is true, then deontology is true.
Okay, so are you arguing in favor of deontology? So just like to be clear, because we didn't really make that clear.
Yeah, I mean, that was the proposition of the debate there.
Okay.
That was
on track. Wow. I'm not going to lie.
The proposition was on deontology. Who took which stance?
And then I said, I'll be nice. And then I said, I'll be nice right? I'll defend deontology because you don't know anything about it. And then the first question that I asked in this debate was, do you take the view that rape is categorically bad? Now, to anyone who is not retarded like you, they would understand that the reason I asked that question is because deontologists understand obligations to be categorical.
Whoa.
And that's
Why does me not understanding that mean I'm retarded?
Yeah, because you're talking
You
about
don't
a
understand shit,
subject you don't know anything about the subject, like you don't understand like very basic, very
Why is that
fundamental
very
facts.
basic?
I mean, like if I got C to mic up right now, hey C, what's the thing that distincts consequentialism and deontology?
Well, that's not. That doesn't have to be very basic because C has been studying this for like over a year, bare minimum.
This is stuff you learn immediately. Hey, C, what's the difference between consequentialism and deontology with respect to imperatives?
So I can't hit
That was the first thing that I learned.
What's the
That
difference?
was the first thing I learned in philosophy.
Can you just calm down? What's the difference between consequentialism and deontology with respect to imperative?
Well, the imperative in deontology is absolute, right? So you have to follow it in all cases, presumably.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the consequentialists, right, they understand them to be non-categorical, right? Like that's the difference.
Yeah, they don't think it applies in all cases.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And listen, Joe, if you read into the subject for more than 2 seconds, you would know that. Right. Like the first thing you read about when you read into ethics is the difference between consequentialism, deontology, and virtue ethics. Right.
Why?
That's the first thing you read about because that's one of the core fundamental theses of every single moral view. Right. You cannot think of a singular moral view that doesn't accept at least one of those 3 theses. Right. And given that's true, it's also the case that you should probably learn about that first, right? You don't want to be talking about views where you don't know the theses, right? You don't want to talk about views and you don't know what the hell they're saying, right?
Wait, real quick. So you don't think that you could, how to say this, know this without specifically knowing the term itself? Because I don't study it at all and I have some get where
What the fuck?
Okay.
Yo, shut up, boy.
Okay, please continue. Like you don't want to be interrupted. That you interrupt me, but
yeah, I mean, I do take the view that you knew that you knew the word deontology, right? And given you know the word deontology, and you're trying to act right now, like what you're trying to do is you're trying to save your ego, right? And so you're trying to act like you knew the relevant concepts, you just didn't know. We called that relevant concept deontology. Right.
Yugi, why you out of breath?
But I think it's very clear here. I think it's very clear to everyone but you that what you're doing right now is coping with like an obvious beatdown.
That's what you could presume, but real quick, I just didn't know that this was correlated to the term deontology. So yeah, whatsoever. Like I knew deontology was a thing. I knew it was a topic, but whether or not these were relevant to it or in relation to it.
Yeah, you didn't know like all the relevant, like you didn't know what deontology was.
I didn't know the correlation. I didn't know the corration. It's not that I didn't know what.
It's not a correlation. It's an analytic truth. This is what deontology.
If I gave you like just a word, for example, like some random concept, like freaking
the word deontology. Yeah, no clue what it meant.
Example, like cope, and you didn't know anything about cope, but you knew the idea or like what it could be, like the definition, for example. That doesn't, bro. Could you please shut the fuck up, see?
How do you know, bro? How do you know the definition of a word without knowing? How do you know what the definition of a word is without knowing what the word means? What the hell are you talking about?
What the word means?
Basically, yeah, because you're trying to act right now, like it's clear to everyone here what's happening right now is you're trying to act like you knew the definition of deontology. Like you're trying to act like you knew what deontology meant at the beginning of this debate, when it's like really obvious you don't. And so you're like embarrassing yourself. Like this is a really, really bad attempt to posture.
Again, I think you can have an idea on the concept and not know the correlation of the concept and the word. Like I think you could have, whatever this thing may be, but not particularly know what the word is or what word is defined by, or so. Like if you understand that.
Right.
As in, you know the word, but you have no fucking clue what it means, because to know what a word means is to know the necessary and sufficient conditions of the word.
That doesn't mean I don't know the concept behind it, bro.
I understand the concept to just be identical to what the word means. I understand the concept of word to just be identical to what the word means. Like I think a word is assigned meaning when we assign a concept to it.
Wait. Okay, so if you had this idea of coping, but you didn't know the word, you you think you have an idea of coping without knowing what coping is?
No, I don't take the view that you can have an idea. I don't take the view that you can have an idea of coping without knowing what coping is. Nope.
What the fuck? So, oh my god.
To have an idea of something, you know what it is.
You think people know the definitions of every concept they use?
I don't take the view that they know the definitions. I don't take the view that they like could list out the set of sorry, calm down there. So
know the word.
I'm not sure on the view that they could list out a set of necessary and sufficient conditions for every word that they use, right? But I think they know the relevant concept, right? And what I think a definition is like what I think what we mean by a term is just we assign a concept to it, right? So the reason the word tree means what it does is because there's this thing out in the world, right? And we have this kind of idea of that thing out in the world, and then we assign that thing to a word, right? And so I kind of take the view that if you know the concept of a word, you know what the word means necessarily, because I think that's what words get their meaning from.
Wow. Okay. So let's say, let's say there's this fucking random ass little kid named Bob, right? Bob was told, because I'm pretty sure Bob was told of the idea, not the word itself, but the idea of freedom without the expression of the actual word. Do you think he then necessarily or whatever has to know freedom as the word itself? You think that it can't be described?
I don't think he needs to know that specific set of letters. I think he knows what the set of letters means, though.
Okay, so you believe that he knows the concept, but he doesn't have to know.
I take the view that he knows what the word means. Yeah.
You said what?
I take the view that he knows what the word means. The relevant difference between him and what's going on right now. The relevant difference between him and what's going on right now is that you know the word, but you have no clue what it means.
Tell me after, bro. Let me finish. So if I just told Bob the word, freedom, you think he's gonna correlate that to the concept without the expression of the word?
No, I think if he understood how other people use the term, though, he'd correlate the concepts. Right. The problem is here that you knew the word deontology. The problem is here that you knew the word deontology. You knew it was a moral theory. You've seen people talk about it, right? And you did not make the connection because you're retarded.
No, what the fuck?
You didn't know deontology was a moral theory?
I didn't. No,
this guy's a retard.
Yeah. So shit crazy. Shit insane.
Deontology, moral theory? Really?
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, listen, Ja. Like what's happening right now is you are missing like fundamental knowledge on the subject. I don't know why you wanted to talk about this when you're fundamentally confused on it.
It's just not me. It's just not me connecting the dots. I don't connect the dots.
No, this is obvious. Dude, you didn't know what the categorical imperative was.
I can have the concept in my head. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to connect them, dude. So I can know what you're talking about.
Know what the categorical imperative was.
You said what?
You didn't know what the categorical imperative was. You obviously don't know what the fuck deontology is.
No, oh my, holy shit, dude. Okay. So I know what I mean by deontology, by the way, is, okay, I know the word itself. I don't know the definition specifically behind the word, which is what I'm saying. I didn't connect.
Deontology means, so deontology means I know what the word is, but I don't know the specific meaning.
No, I know, bro.
Specific meaning. But I don't know the specific meaning.
Holy shit! All right, so
I know the word.
I can say not know the meaning behind the word. Are you done? I can say the word and not know the meaning behind a word, while knowing the idea of it, but not knowing the core.
I don't know either.
What are you talking about?
Genius,
bro. I don't know either,
bro. Are you serious?
Listen, Ja, I just have a question. How can you know the kind of things that are morally relevant with respect to deontology, like all of the moral things, if you don't even know deontology is a moral theory? How the fuck can you know that? Yeah, exactly.
You have the idea.
You have no fucking clue because you realize you're coping.
No, I have to, bro. What? Okay, so what I mean is, I have the idea. You done? So the moral theory would connect back to the how do I say this? How it's defined, right?
The moral theory would connect back to how it's
being
defined.
a moral theory. Yes, it being a moral theory would connect back to how it's defined. I didn't know deontology, the word, was a moral theory, not the definition. Okay.
Okay, so
What?
can you tell me what deontology? Now that I've explained the concept to you, like now that actually no, I haven't even explained the concept. Now that I've made it clear,
You gotta make it clear. You didn't know what I was
now that you've connected the concepts, apparently, because that's what you've been arguing with me about. Apparently now you've connected the concepts. Apparently you know what you're talking
know what I
about.
was fucking saying.
Define deontology for the room.
Say that again.
Define deontology for the room, since you've apparently connected the concept now.
It's moral philosophy.
That's true.
Or like,
He's deep.
bro, could you like not? That connects like setting rules and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you ask me questions, I would like probably be able to give
Okay,
answers.
so deontology is defined as a moral philosophy that's connected to like a set of rules.
That's what I said.
So are rule utilitarians deontologists?
You said what?
Are rule utilitarians deontologists?
Rule utilitarians?
Yeah, man.
Define what they are. Is that the same? Or do they apply?
Yeah, so a rule utilitarian. So a rule utilitarian is a utilitarian that takes the view that whenever someone is making a judgment on how they ought to act, instead of specifically judging the particular instance they're in, they should rather follow this set of moral rules that typically maximize utility. Do you take the view that they're deontologists?
No, because I don't even think that's the same.
Okay, so then that's a moral theory that has something to do with rules, right?
It seems to have additives there, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I think you're retarded. I don't think you know how definitions work. Right. So definitions, they work in this way, right? Where
I
meet the definition. It's just an analytic truth that I'm not saying, right? So say I'm a moral theory that is somehow connected to rules. Right? It would be the case that I'm deontology on your view, right? Or at least I'm in part deontologist, right? But you don't want to commit yourself to the view, particularly that rule utilitarianism is deontology, right? Because obviously it's a consequentialist view, right? Like they're obviously not deontologists.
1 second.
Right.
Back it over.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing right now is you're just kind of denying an analytic truth.
Yeah. Like, okay, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
just stand down, bro. Look, I'll get Single Phoenix to delete this recording, bro. Look, me and Single Phoenix, we have connections with like the Jewish.
That's not even single, bro. That's Marcy. It's over.
Oh, shit. You might be doomed, bro. I mean, Marcy's in the part of the idea. I can't move my connections.
Hey, I got you, bro. I'm like, if I got you, bro, I can get this erase, bro. I have power, bro.
Yo, he even let, bro.
Yeah, you evil, bro. You a bad person, bro.
Oh, there's
so when you're hunting, zebra, you have to be very careful because zebras are very violent creatures.
Yeah, I mean,
Marcy, you gotta be very careful.
You can in the right, Marcy. I mean, he left. He's gone. He ran away.
That shit was so